And we're also going to welcome little Dolenchik. But it's racing away, and a great start from both in the front. And it's going to be Devil Brimmer that's going to have the inside line and go straight into the lead. And Van der Scholt has pushed his way up into third place. Very late braking, but clean and clear for everyone throughout.
Just pushing it, actually. You say he pushed his way through, he pushed it a little bit too beyond the limit there and actually locked up the brakes into one. It might have flat spotted the tyre ever so slightly, but they're not hot enough just yet. So those Avon tyres, I think, are going to take a little bit longer to get up to race pace. They don't take as long as the previous tyre manufacturer that we had on these cars, but they certainly get to grips relatively quickly. And already pressure, wow! Into Rose Foundation Street, Van der Watt had a big look on the inside, just not enough room to get through.
Well, not only him, Van der Scholt as well in the bright red Investchem car. That is Van der Scholt. In the white car is Julian van der Watt, and Devil Brimmer in the mad racing out in front. And he is going to have to drive like mad. Like we said, Julian knows this track. He's already positioning himself to have a go at the lead. He's straight into the lead. He's slipstreamed his way through. Scholt has gone with at 1, 2, and Brimmer's down to third.
Okay, so basically you want to be in second or third place on the final lap heading down the Cape Town straight towards Cape Town corner, because if you're not, the slipstream effect, if they're this close by the time the next 9 laps happens, you're going to be in big trouble. And wow! Scott, he had a big look on the inside. Van der Watt saw him coming and shut the door. Went defensive, he made his one move and he made it count.
I tell you what, if Van der Watt sneezed then, it would have been all over for about 6 of them. And they are so close. The strip stream is being put to work way quicker than we anticipated. They are really right on each other's tails, and it's not only there, it's Gillespie, it's Fenter, the second and third of the mad racing, and right in between them is Rick Morris. We said he's going to be a niggle, and he is certainly going to do that.
Well, just if anybody doesn't know who Rick Morris is, Rick Morris at one point in his career was actually quicker and beat on numerous occasions the late great Ayrton Senna in a Formula Ford. So if you want to have a look at experience, there is probably not anybody in this country who is as experienced as Rick Morris, who currently sits in 5th place in the blue and white Investchem car, right on Fenter's tail and giving him hell.
And we will also mention that he's a little bit older than his 60s.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just into his late 60s, I would say. I won't say how old he actually is, but yeah, he is not a rookie. He's a seasoned campaigner. Let's put it that way.
And then to go to Phillip Island, of all places, for the Formula Fords, and then mix it up and get a top 4 finish.
Yeah, as I said, a little bit of experience certainly pays off. At the front end, though, the battle continues and it is raging. Van der Scholt is putting massive pressure onto the local man, and Van der Watt is going to have his wits about him up into engine corner now. Hard on the brakes. Van der Watt goes defensive. He knows that inside line is vital, especially in a single-seater. It's not like when you're riding superbikes there. You can use the outside line and possibly get a slightly later apex, better drive onto the kink and down towards Rose Foundation. If you've got 3 single-seaters on your tail like he has right now, 2 of them who are hounding him at the moment, you've got to go defensive at every single occasion. Now let's have a look and see. Van der Scholt, according to my opinion, not quite close enough to capitalize on the slipstream, but depends on what kind of power he gets out of Malmesbury. He's got 2 car lengths back. It's not close enough to use that slipstream. He'll be able to get to it, but he won't be able to pull out and actually get past.
He's going to close, and he's going to close hard, but he's not going to be able to use it. Van der Watt is going to, as you saw, moving left and right to make sure that they actually break any toe that he might be able to get. But Scholt has closed right up. Van der Watt seems, I'm not going to say slow down the back straight, but Scholt definitely has the better acceleration, where Van der Watt is very tight and clean in the corners.
What you got to take into account, Larry, is keep an eye on Van der Watt through this first section of the circuit. Through 1, 2, and 3, he is extremely good. And that's giving him the 2 or 3 car lengths that he needs for the back straight. So he might be testing that initially, just to see how far he's got to be ahead, so that by the last lap, and when it counts, Scholz can't capitalize.
And again, we go back to karting. I'm sorry, but these are really cheeky little buggers, and I count every one of them in that, because they watch and wait, and they know with the Fords, especially with the toe, if you get it in front in the last lap and you can hold it to the finish line. So they're quite happy to play the weight game. Very happy. I mean, we've got 7 laps, well, 6 and a bit laps to go. And I will tell you that between Julian van der Watt and Devil Brimmer, they're probably the 2 quickest cars on track at the moment.
Looking good so far as they head down that back straightaway. Once again, this time Banner a little bit closer, but he's not going to go and try the overtaking maneuver just yet. He's just going to show the wheel. He'll make sure that Van der Vaart realizes that the pressure is there. It has not relented yet, and he's going to just keep them at bay for now. In doing so, unfortunately now, all of a sudden, he slowed himself up ever so slightly, and Brummer can capitalize on that. He'll have to keep an eye on the rearview mirror every now and again to make sure that no attack comes from behind. A change up for 4 and 5. Fenter's got through on Morris, and Rick Morris now has to try and get in between those two youngsters who are just ahead of him. Gillespie having one of his best runs here in Cape Town, currently sitting in 4th place.
And the fastest person on track is sitting in 3rd. Like we said, Brummer is on the charge. He is closing up. Skolt's right on the back of Van der Vaart going into the bowl. And a change in position for 4th place as
Fenter
sneaks through. And watch Morris. He's right there. He's hanging on. And he just puts his nose in. Just
14 into pit lane, unfortunately there. That's Donnie Lamola. So a little bit of problem for our lady driver, and of course she's going to be involved not only in the Formula 1600s all through the season, she's also part of the team that's going up to the Knysna Hill Climb with you too.
Yep, we've got a ladies team at the Knysna Hill Climb this year, folks, and we are raising money for hospice. So if you've got a moment, go to the Hill Climb Ladies Facebook page, and all the fun and all the information is there. And I understand Andrew Schofield has gone farming off track.
Looks like he ran a little bit wide and got a little bit out of shape, but here we go onto the main straight, down towards us across the line to complete the halfway mark. And wow, it is side by side. Werner Skoltz and Van der Vaart absolutely wing mirror to wing mirror and front wheel to front wheel on the inside. Van der Vaart's got the, he's pushing hard, late braking in, locking the brakes up into turn 1. And I can tell you KFM Corner is going to see lots of action here today.
Those Avon tyres are really good. They are full slicks. But if you're going to keep punishing them like that, come race 2, they're not going to be stopping you.
I can vouch for that.
Yes.
Did that in my Mini 2 years ago. So let's not go and lock up tyres around here. You will end up with no rubber or possibly with a blown wheel. So the pressure that's at the front, look at that though. Van der Vaart, what did he do wrong? I think Werner Skoltz might have had a problem through the kink and through Rose. He's lost about 4 or 5 car lengths there, and now is under immense pressure from the 3rd place car. Well, Brummer is on his tail and is in the slipstream and could get past him down the back straight.
No, and it's basically, unless they do something drastic, it's going to be Van der Vaart with a runaway win with 4.5 laps to go. Brummer hasn't capitalized on it just yet. He's going to watch and wait, but Van der Vaart, he's got the clean E. If he puts his head down, and Morris around the outside of Cape Town corner, past both Fenter and Gillespie into 4th place. Hello!
Take that, youngsters!
That is how you drive.
Driving there from Rick Morris around the outside of the bank corner, overtakes not only 4th, but also 5th place and goes back into that 4th place himself. So that's 2 cars in one move and goes defensive to keep them both out into turn 1. Brilliant stuff from Rick Morris. Watch out for that battle. That is the 4th, 5th and 6th place battle on track. It's the second bunch of cars. The first bunch of cars led out by Cape Town's own Julian Van der Vaart. But he is not at the checkered flag and on the podium yet, because all of a sudden some hot lap times on that last one, and in fact the second sector we saw Werner Skoltz go quickest.
Well, Van der Skoltz hopefully has sorted out whatever was ailing him, but he's just not getting it going. We know he's much quicker than Van der Vaart down the back straight, so if he's resolved that problem, we should see him closing the gap as they get to Cape Town corner. But Brummer's also not on his tail. They seem to have realized that they need these tires for race 2, and it's going to be a lot hotter in race 2. The track temperature is going to be higher. Brummer had a quick look in Cape Town, and he said no, he's not going to. He's not quite like Rick Morris just yet. Morris is still hanging on into 4th place, and Fenton Gillespie changing positions yet again. We are 3 laps to go. It's a 10-lap race, and it's been very much a thinking race. This isn't a dine and dash race. These guys are plotting and planning. They have to choose their corners and also, of course, make sure that they've got the corner speed and the straight line speed to make sure that once they've overtaken, they can stay in front.
Yeah, our strategy is starting to come into play. There's no doubt about it. You can see how defensive Werner Skoltz is going. He's going to settle for second place because he realizes that he might not be able to bridge that gap to Van der Vaart. He's tried it on 2 or 3 occasions down the back straight, but doesn't seem to have the legs to catch onto the front car. Let's see whether or not that changes in the next 2.5 laps as they head up towards Barnsley again. In the background though, Rick Morris has pulled 2 car lengths over the 2 youngsters, and Gillespie and Fenter at each other's throats there for a potential 5th place.
Literally, Greg, because Fenter's waving his arms and trying to tell Gillespie to get out the way, and Gillespie's going, well, if you want to get into 5th place, go around me.
Not an easy thing to do, although if you're Rick Morris, you can do it. You saw how simple he made it look going through Cape Town Corner where they are right now. Round the outside this time. Oh, bit of a change up in fourth place battle. 1, 2 and 3 still the same. Rick Morris goes defensive. Is Fenter going to sneak through on the inside? He might just have a squeeze. No, he hasn't. Wow, Alice Gillespie just closes the door. Won't let him through. He's in the slipstream. He pulls out of the slipstream. Comes alongside Rick Morris and goes right past him. Change up for fourth place. Gillespie back to 4. Ooh, touch! Nearly touches. Wow, they were just so close, the two of them. Might have just rubbed wheels there, front and back. But Morris just keeping the youngster on his toes as they come out of 1.
Well, I tell you what, those 3 are going to come off the track with a smile on their face. That is a race and a half between the 3 of them, and there is no quarter given. Fenter's looking, and this time they are. Morris is on the inside this time, and Gillespie's got wheels on the dirt.
He ran him off the track.
And just about. I think Morris said, well, you're going to touch my wheels. I'll show you how it's done properly. Let's go farming.
Yeah, but Gillespie's lost out big time there because of him to run off the circuit and onto the dirty stuff. He lost out to Fenter, who snuck through. So a little bit of a change up there and some epic racing in single-seaters. This is the kind of stuff we see all the time with these guys. They're the four-wheeled version of superbikes. They really put on an incredible show. And now coming to start the final lap, can Van der Vaart hang on for one more? Will he be able to keep Van der Scholz out? Van der Scholz is not worried about Van der Vaart. Right now, his biggest worry is behind him.
You know, Van der Scholz is actually the quickest car on track, significantly. 49 versus a 15-1 of Van der Vaart. So, you know, we might have it wrong, and he might just be saying, well, you know, let's get him comfortable, let's get him relaxed. We've got one lap to go.
Just now we got that, a 14.962 for Scholz here, 14.982. That's 200 of a second difference between those two cars in second and third place, and they're closing.
And they're closing, but are they closing fast enough? Does Van der Vaart have enough in the bag for the last 4 corners?
He needs 2.5 car lengths coming onto the back straight. That should be enough to allow him to maintain and not give Werner Scholz the opportunity to use the slipstream. Scholz, as we've seen, Scholz, as we've seen, can get into the slipstream, but he cannot make it work for him and actually get past. There is a back marker this time. Could that come into play as they head down toward Cape Town Corner now for the final time in anger? Back marker's in the way. He moves completely out the way. Great job, Donny. Fantastic stuff there from our young lady driver. Getting out the way, but it was enough, I think, to put Werner Scholz off the opportunity to try that move.
He was looking, he was lining it up. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but coming home, it's going to be Cape Town's Julian Van der Vaart. Takes the flag very happily from Scholz, and coming in behind him, Dierwold Brummer.
Here comes fourth place now. Rick Morris with both cars side by side. I've got to watch over the line here. Fenter and Gillespie are wheel to wheel. Fenter just takes it.
And I'll tell you what, that wily old coyote Rick Morris, he held both youngsters to a higher standard today. That's racing, boys and girls. I'm sorry, that was flipping brilliant. And Van der Scholz across the line with a 14.